Hello students, good evening all of you. Can you hear me guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good evening all of you. So yesterday we were actually talking about ozone, its preparation methods and its properties. Okay, and that is completed. So here in this session, I am going to talk about sulfur and its oxy acids. Okay, sulfur. What is sulfur? Sulfur is S. Okay, atomic number is 60, mass number 32. Okay, so here this sulfur, it forms, what is that? Sulfur. Sulfur forms many allotropic forms. It exists in many allotropic forms. Okay, but only few of them are important. The most important of that is there are two forms, alpha and beta forms are important. So first I will talk about, it is having two forms. Okay, two main important allotropy forms, two important allotropes, two important allotropes. Okay, the first one is alpha sulfur and second one is beta sulfur. Okay, this alpha sulfur is also called as rhombic sulfur. Okay, this beta sulfur is also called as monoclinic sulfur. Okay, this alpha sulfur is having yellow color and it is actually colorless, and its melting point of alpha sulfur is 385.8 kelvins, and here the melting point of beta sulfur is 392 kelvins. Okay, here how this alpha sulfur is prepared is the roll sulfur. Okay, it is one form of sulfur. Roll sulfur solution, when it is heated in the presence of non-polar solvent CS2, carbon disulfide, okay, you will get your rhombic sulfur. Okay, what you will get? You will get rhombic sulfur crystals. So I'll simply write alpha sulfur you are going to get. So it is on evaporation, alpha sulfur in the presence of CS2, upon heating evaporation takes place, you will get alpha sulfur. Okay, and it is insoluble in water and sparingly soluble, that means slightly soluble, sparingly soluble in organic compounds, solvents like benzene, okay, alcohol, ether. Okay, and it is completely fully soluble in what? Carbon disulfide. So this point is important. So alpha sulfur is soluble in where? CS2, carbon disulfide, it is highly soluble. Next, now we'll move to beta sulfur. It is also called as monoclinic sulfur. Beta sulfur is also called as what? Monoclinic sulfur. Its properties I am discussing. Okay, its melting point is 392 and it is also soluble in carbon disulfide. These points are important. Solubility is important. Okay, next, this is about it. Okay. Next, we have some preparation method of this alpha beta. There is a temperature of 369 Kelvin temperature. Okay, 369 Kelvin temperature. Above this temperature, greater than 369, okay, to beta sulfur is most predominant. That means it becomes stable. If the same sample, if you maintain it less than 369, alpha sulfur is more predominant. Okay, alpha sulfur and beta sulfur are changing. Okay, alpha and beta sulfur are changing. Just if it is below, less than, I'm writing 369, alpha sulfur is more predominant. Alpha sulfur is stable or it will form happily. Here, greater than 369, beta sulfur is stable. That means here alpha and beta, they are in equilibrium with each other at 369 degrees centigrade. At 369 degrees centigrade, it is stable. So this temperature, this temperature, how much it is? 369 Kelvin is called as transition temperature. Very, very important point. Transition temperature. Just keep this. Okay. So how alpha form and beta form will interchange at 369. If it is less than 369, alpha form is more stable. Greater than 369, beta form is more stable. So at this particular temperature, if you take exactly 369, alpha and beta are in equilibrium. At 369, what? Alpha and beta are at equilibrium with each other. They have same concentrations. So this exactly 369 kelvins is called transition temperature. Why it is transition? Below and above this temperature, a different sulfur you are going to get. That's what it is, a transition point. Okay. Next point is whether you take monoclinic or rhombic sulfur, whatever. Both rhombic and monoclinic. Both these, okay, have SI2 molecules. Both of these, okay, whether you take rhombic or monoclinic, they have SI2 molecules, okay, joined together. So let's draw its structure, SI2 molecule structure. It is having a crown ring shape, crown ring structure, or it is also called as puckered structure. Okay, so let's take this structure. It's like a crown. Can you see this? It's like a crown. Here the bond angle is 107 degrees and this SS bond length is 204 picometers. Okay, guys. This is the first SI2 molecule. And sulfur will also exist as, I'm not talking about rhombic sulfur, some other sulfur molecules, but some are predominant at different temperatures. S6 if you take, it is having a chair form. Okay, how chair form of S6 looks like? This is a chair form of sulfur. Here the SS bond length 207.5 picometers, and here the bond angle is 102 degrees. Okay, and at a high temperature, if you take at a high temperature, sulfur at high temperature like 1000 kelvins, okay, 1000 kelvins, which form of sulfur is more stable, if they will ask, at a high temperature like 1000 kelvins, S2 is more predominant. S2 is more predominant. S2 is more predominant. Here S2 is also paramagnetic, just like your O2, because oxygen, sulfur are same group elements, right? So O2 is also paramagnetic. So here S2 is also paramagnetic. So if they'll ask the question at very high temperatures, more than 1000 or 1000 kelvins, which form of sulfur is more predominant? Means S2 is more predominant. Okay, and it is paramagnetic like your oxygen molecule. Is it clear? Next, we'll move to sulfur dioxide. What is it? Sulfur dioxide. So please have a look at this. What is the formula of sulfur dioxide? SO2. Okay. Now it's a preparation. If you will see, it's preparation method. Directly sulfur or oxygen, atmospheric air combination, you will get sulfur dioxide. And other way is from sulfite also you can get. Sulfite SO4, SO3 2 minus. This ion comes from sulfites. On dilution with sulfuric acid, this mainly comes from dilute sulfuric acid. H2SO4 concentration I am using. H plus ions means sulfuric acid is present in it. Okay, that gives you H2O plus sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is a gas. Okay, and here this method is mainly used in labs. It is a laboratory method. Suppose if you take industrially sulfur dioxide is produced mainly from sulfur dioxide is produced as a byproduct. It is not a actual product. It is mainly prepared as a byproduct of the roasting of sulfide ores. In metallurgy it will come roasting of sulfide ore. So what do you mean by roasting of sulfide ore? Roasting means heating of a sample in the presence of oxygen. Heating in presence of oxygen is called roasting. Heating in the absence of oxygen is called calcination. There are two different opposite words. Okay, in metallurgy you will get that. Roasting in the presence of oxygen, heating of sulfide ore. So you can take any sulfide ore, suppose FeS2 I am taking, it is having sulfur and iron, right? So to roast this, that means you have to use oxygen. Oxygen means heating in the presence of oxygen. This ore is an sulfide ore. So when you heat this, okay, with the excess oxygen, you will get this iron is converting into Fe2O3. It is a step in iron separation, iron purification technique. This is okay, and sulfur and this oxygen converting into sulfur dioxide. So I think 8. Look at this. So this is industrial method of sulfur dioxide preparation. This is what you are looking for, isn't it? So your product is a byproduct here. The sulfur dioxide you are looking for is as a byproduct in this industrial production. So it is mainly prepared by roasting of sulfide ores. You can take a sulfide ore and heat in the presence of oxygen. You will get sulfur dioxide. Okay. Next, its properties we'll discuss. Properties of sulfur dioxide. So what is the property? First of all, it is a colorless gas. It is a colorless gas with a pungent smell. It is having, means very tough smell it is having, and it is highly soluble in water. Highly soluble in water. So first chemical property on reaction with water, because it is soluble in water, what you are going to get? H2SO3. What is the name of this compound? Sulfurous acid. Acid. Sulfurous acid. Wherever sulfurous, acids and ic acid, two types of acids are there, I said. Acids means a less number of oxygens are present. Ic acids, more number of oxygen. In acids, sulfur, which group element it is? Sixth group. So it will not have maximum oxidation state. But in ic acid, sulfur will have its maximum oxidation state. So in ic acids, maximum group oxidation state it will follow, the central atoms. But in acids, it will not follow. Okay. Next, second one, this sulfur dioxide on reaction with the base or alkali, okay, alkalis, what you are going to get? Na2SO3, sodium sulfite. What is the name of this? Sodium sulfite. Sodium sulfite. Okay, this Na2SO3 on further reaction with sulfur dioxide in the presence of water, it will converts to sodium hydrogen sulfide, Na2 NaHSO3. So what is the name of this? This equation is important. Both are important. What is the name of this? Sodium hydrogen sulfide. Sodium hydrogen sulfide. Next, third one, sulfur dioxide also reacts with the chlorine gas. These both of them are gases. So to absorb them maximum, they have to absorb on a surface. So I'll use charcoal as a catalyst. So they can get absorbed on a single surface and the rate of reaction increases. If both the gases are, leave them to freely react, it takes a lot of time. So since both of them are gases, they must be absorbed on a catalyst which provides maximum surface area. Charcoal is a very good surface providing catalyst. When these two are absorbed on a single catalyst, their interaction will increases, thereby rate of reaction also increases. So you will get sulfuryl chloride. What is the name of this compound? Sulfuryl chloride. Okay, so here charcoal is acting as a catalyst. And the fourth one, sulfur dioxide on reaction with oxygen gas, you will get sulfur trioxide, SO3, 2SO2 plus 2SO3. Here, the catalyst used here is vanadium pentoxide, V2O5. V2O5 is a catalyst. Okay, and here also all of them are gases. Gas. Sulfur trioxide is also gas. So these are the sulfur trioxide preparation methods and its properties. One more property is there, we'll discuss that. Okay, here I think fifth one, sulfur trioxide acts as reducing agent. Sulfur trioxide acts as reducing agent. Can you see this? You are able to follow, girls? Yes,
Yes,
please
sir.
respond. It acts as a reducing agent. That means it reduces the other one. So iron plus 3 is converting into iron plus 2. Change in oxidation state, decrease in oxidation state is called reduction, right? So sulfur trioxide will do this function. Let's see how. Iron plus 3 on reaction with the sulfur trioxide, sorry, sulfur dioxide, right? I am talking about sulfur dioxide. In the presence of water, it will convert. Iron plus 3 is converting into iron plus 2, and this will convert as a sulfate ions and H plus. It's balanced now. Another example, if you take KMnO4. In KMnO4, what is the ion present? MnO4 minus converting into manganese plus 2. So here the manganese is in plus 5 oxidation state, converting into what? Plus 2 oxidation state. So reduction, right? So this reaction, how it takes place? Let's write that. MnO4 minus on reaction with what? Sulfur dioxide in the presence of water. Okay, converting into manganese plus 2 and sulfate ions plus H plus ions. Okay, so here 5 moles of SO2 if you take, converting into 5 moles of sulfate ions, 2 MnO4, 2 manganese plus 2, H plus ions are 4. So it is a balanced equation. So you don't need to worry about balancing equation. First try to understand the concept. Okay, sulfur dioxide is acting as reducing agent. So the only thing is iron plus 3 is converting into plus 2. So here sulfur dioxide SO2 is converting into sulfate. Here also SO2 is converting into sulfate, and manganese plus 5 is converting into plus 2. So these two are important here. How your reactant and your reducing agent are changing. That two things you have to be careful. So remaining it just okay for balancing purpose you can do it. Okay. Now let's discuss about its structure of sulfur dioxide. How its structure looks like? Sulfur dioxide, right? Sulfur, the middle. It is actually having angular shape, and here 3 lone pairs on this oxygen, 2 lone pairs. So here this double bond may interchange. So which type of shape it is having? It is having angular shape. That's it. Next, its uses we are going to discuss. So it is a good reducing agent. So that's what it is used in refining of petroleum. Refining industry and even in sugar industry it is used. Okay. And due to these properties, it is also used as bleaching agent. What I said bleaching means it is not okay. Yes, bleaching. It is used for bleaching of wool and silk. Bleaching means colored compound is converting into colorless compound. That is called bleaching. And it is used in anti-cloring agent, anti-chlor agent, disinfectant. It acts as a disinfectant, and it is also used in preservation purpose. is also used as preservative. Okay, so this is about sulfur dioxide uses. Next, I'll start another important area in this, oxo acids of sulfur. What is the heading? Oxo acids of sulfur. Oxo acids of sulfur. That means oxygen in combination with sulfur. Sulfur oxygen combination acids. Okay. The first one is H2SO3. H2SO3. What is the name of this? Sulfurous acid. It is an acid. So sulfur will not take it maximum oxidation state. Okay, it is in +4 oxidation state. So here, now write its structure. Sulfurous acid, H2, SO3. 4 bonds over, right? So one lone pair on sulfur. Okay. This is H2SO3 structure. Next, H2SO4. What is H2SO4? It is sulfuric acid. So here, what is the maximum oxidation state? +6. So whenever ic acids comes, that atoms will be in its maximum oxidation state. Us acids less oxidation state, not its maximum group oxidation state. It will follow. So sulfuric acid, how its structure looks like? H2SO4, right? Maximum 6 bonds it can form. Anyway, you can write anything. It should have two OH links and two S double bond links. Okay, because in its it is acting as a dibasic acid. It is a dibasic acid. Why it is a dibasic acid? Because of two hydroxy sulfur hydroxy links are present in this. So for this dibasic acidic character, these hydrogens are responsible. These protons can be easily released, right? So next, third one, peroxo, I'll write it as peroxosulfuric acid. Peroxo disulfuric acid. The formula of this is H2S2O8. It is a form of two sulfuric acids are present in this this formula H2S2O8. Two sulfuric acids are combined. That's what it is, disulfuric acid. And it will have a peroxo link. What is meant by a peroxy link? Oxygen link, if it is present any compound, that is called a peroxy bond, isn't it? So first write sulfuric acid. This is H2SO4, 1. Another sulfuric acid you will write. H2 only, right? H2 means this is also oxygen. Look at this. Now they are combined together with a peroxy link. What is this peroxy link? Oxygen bonding is there now. So it is called peroxy link. Suppose if you take this half, okay, close this half, okay, look at this HSO4 minus sulfate ion. This side also HSO4 minus. So they were joined together with a oxygen link, that is called peroxy. It is peroxo disulfuric acid. Next, fourth one is sulfuric acid. Formula is H2S2O7. This is very, very important. It is also called as oleum. It is also called as oleum. Okay, now let's write its structure. One oxygen is less when compared to this peroxo disulfuric acid, and oleum is having only one oxygen less in this. So instead of peroxylink, you have only one oxygen in between these two. Only one oxygen you keep. If you keep two oxygens, you will get peroxo disulfuric acid. One oxygen, you will get pyrosulfuric acid. So this is about oxo acids of sulfur. Okay, guys. So their structural based questions are important. How many SOH links are present? That thing you have to do it as homework. So here, how many SOH links? Write it. How many S double bond O? Here also do the same thing. How many S double bond O links are present? Here, SOH links, S double bond O links, peroxy links. Okay. Here also, SOH links are how many? S double bond O links are how many? Okay. Or sometimes here, SOS link. Is there any SOS link in this? Sulfur, oxygen, sulfur? No. Yes, OOS link is there. So SOS links are 0. One peroxy link. S double bond O's are 2 plus 2, 4. SOH links are 1 plus 1, 2. Like this analysis you have to do. Sulfur hydroxy links, or you have to write here sulfur double bond O, and SOS links, SS links are how many? Okay. And peroxy links, if they are present, you can write, otherwise leave it. Okay. So this kind of analysis they will ask in the exams. You need to be carefully draw the structures. Okay. Okay, guys. Have you understood this? Shall we move
Yes,
to
sir.
next concept? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one is one sulfur oxy acid we have to choose and write its properties. So you know that the king of chemicals. What is that? What is the king of chemicals? Sulfuric acid is called as the king of chemicals. Reason is it is highly reactive, highly corrode in nature. Okay, and it violently reacts with other group elements. So that's what it is, king of chemicals. Sulfuric acid, very strong oxidizing agent. So here, this sulfuric acid, H2SO4, its structure you know already. This is the structure of sulfuric acid, H2SO4, is a dibasic acid. Okay. Its properties, its preparation methods we'll see now. H2SO4 is prepared by what? Contact process. So very, very important in industrial method. A high amount of sulfuric acid is formed in this method. Okay. So it involves in this contact process happens in, okay, it is a 3-step process. So the first one is, all steps are important, listen carefully. Formation of sulfur dioxide, first step. Formation of sulfur dioxide. So how sulfur dioxide is prepared? You know the basic examples like sulfur on direct reaction with oxygen, you will get sulfur dioxide. This is one way. Anyway, your product is sulfur dioxide, right? Or you can also use another one. What is that? It is sulfur dioxide is also prepared in the metallurgical process. Sulfur dioxide is available as byproduct in sulfur ores, roasting of sulfur ores. So what is that example? Iron sulfide on reaction with excess of oxygen, it will converting into Fe2O3 and sulfur dioxide as a byproduct. Okay, now let's balance this. So either of these things you can use. Okay, both are possible. So first step is formation of sulfur dioxide. You got your sulfur dioxide as a product here. Fine. Next, second step. Second step is formation of sulfur trioxide. And this is very, very important, crucial step in all the three. Okay. So here sulfur trioxide is formed. The first step product is what? Sulfur dioxide. This on further reaction with oxygen, it is an equilibrium process. SO2 plus O2 is converting into 2SO3, and the high amount of heat energy releases in this reaction. This much amount of energy releases. So it is an exothermic process. All of them are gaseous reactants and the products are gaseous. It is an exothermic process. Minus indicates what? It is an exothermic process. So according to Le-Chatellier principle, according to whom? Le-Chatellier principle. So you have to write some favorable conditions for the formation of sulfur trioxide. It is an already exothermic reaction, so it is giving out excess energy. So low temperatures are favorable. So for this, low temperatures and low temperature. Here 2 plus 1. How many moles of sulfur dioxide is there? 2. 1 oxygen converting into 2. That means 2 plus 1, 3 moles converting into 2 moles. Number of moles are decreasing from left to right. So high pressures are required. So low temperature and high pressure. So how much is that low temperature? Nearly 720 kelvins. And the pressure is 2 bar pressure is used in this. So this is very, very important point. HPLT, high temperature and low pressures. Low temperature and high pressures are the favorable conditions for the formation of sulfur trioxide. Okay. So these conditions, okay, these two conditions favors the formation of sulfur trioxide, and that is nothing but we are talking about sulfuric acid. So these conditions will favor the formation of sulfur trioxide. So overall, you are going to get maximum amount of sulfuric acid. So this is very, very crucial step. So according to Le-Chatelier's, if you observe, exothermic reactions needs low temperature and number of moles are decreasing, so high pressures you have to use. Okay. Next, 2 steps were over. Third step, it is the formed, it is finally formation of H2SO4. Okay. The product that is formed in the second step, what is that? Sulfur trioxide, which is absorbed on sulfuric acid. Don't get confused with this. Already pre-prepared sulfuric acid from other methods. You can use a concentrated sulfuric acid you can take. Okay. This this H2 SO3 is absorbed on is absorbed on concentrated H2SO4. Now combine this, what you are going to get? H2S2O7. What is the name of this formula? Oleum. So you are going to get oleum. So why I am doing this? The concentrated, okay, the SO3 you are getting on combining with the concentrated sulfuric acid, you will get H2S2O7. This H2S2O7, if you look at the structure, look at this. This is H2S2O7 structure. H2S2O7, oleum structure. Now what I am doing is, okay, I will do hydrolysis of this oleum. What I'll do? Addition of water to this. In that case, what happens? You will get 2 moles of H2SO4. 2 moles of H2SO4, which is highly concentrated and pure, nearly 96 to 98% pure sulfuric acid you are going to get. So reason how H2S2O7, look at this. I'll write the structure here only. By using water, you are doing hydrolysis, right? So you will get 2 moles of sulfuric acid, I said, right? So use water and break this sulfur oxygen bond. Either side you can break, no problem. Here oxygen is already there. So O minus H plus. This side H plus attached on this side and OH minus this side. So what are the overall formula? 2 hydrogens, 4 oxygens, 1 sulfur. So H2SO4. This side also 2 hydrogens, 4 oxygens, 1 sulfur. 2 moles. So 2 moles of sulfuric acid you are going to get on hydrolysis of oleum. Okay, guys. So this is your sulfuric acid contact process. Look at the whole. So it involves in 3 steps. Okay. First is formation of SO2. So that you can do it from sulfur on reaction with oxygen converting into sulfur dioxide, or else you can use this metallurgical process also. Second step is formation of SO3. That first step product is used as reactant here. Again, further oxidation convert to sulfur trioxide. Delta H is negative. So according to Le-Chatelier's principle, to increase the maximum product of SO3 or sulfuric acid, you have to use low temperature and high pressures. So that eventually favors the formation of sulfur trioxide and sulfuric acid. And this is formation of sulfuric acid. So the sulfur trioxide formed in the second step is absorbed on sulfuric acid, that gives you oleum. On hydrolysis of oleum, you will get sulfuric acid, which is 96 to 98% pure. So if you observe these 3 steps, in no other reaction is energy is releasing except in second one. So first and third are, this is simple hydrolysis absorption technique. It is simple reaction with oxygen, but this is also reaction with oxygen, but here minus 196. This is an exothermic process. So in this process, actually we will use V2O5 as a catalyst, vanadium pentoxide. So what catalyst is used in this? Vanadium pentoxide catalyst is used, okay, to increase the rate of reaction. So this is about sulfuric acid contact method preparation. Okay, chalo. We'll move to its properties now. Okay, let's talk about its properties. Its properties. In the properties, okay, the properties, this sulfuric acid, first of all, the sulfuric acid is a colorless liquid, right? It is colorless, dense, oily liquid. Little denser, oily nature, and it is colorless. Okay. And this sulfuric acid ionizes in 2 steps. It ionizes in 2 steps. That means it gives H plus ions in 2 steps. What does that? How to write that? H2SO4. If it loses one proton, H plus and HSO4 minus. It is giving out H plus ions, so it is acidic in nature, right? So the Ka1, so it is because 2 hydrogens are there in sulfuric acid. First proton is releasing, so I call it as Ka1. Ka1 is greater than 10. Greater than 10 means it's a very large value. Very large value. Okay. Ka1 is very large. Next, if it loses the other proton also, HSO4 minus is converting into H plus and SO4 2 minus. Okay. So it loses the second proton now. In that case, I call it as Ka2. Ka2 is small. This is nearly 1.2 into 10 power minus 2. So it is less only. When compared to 10, this value is less only, right? So in first proton release is more acidic than second proton acidic nature. Have you understood now? So when sulfuric acid releases the first proton, it is more acidic than its second proton. Okay. And that's why it forms, look at this, one H plus, another H plus, 2 hydrogens it can easily give in two steps. So that's why sulfuric acid H2SO4 forms two types of salts. Two types of salts. One is complete normal salts, like if it is loses 2 protons at a time, what you are going to get? SO4 2 minus. So that type of salts, Na2SO4, in the place of hydrogens, 2 sodiums, or copper sulfate. This is a normal salt. It can also form acid sulfates. Acid, still it is acidic. That means by losing one proton, in the place of one hydrogen, sodium if you use, sodium hydrogen sulfate, like this. So it forms two types of salts. One is normal salt, other one is acid sulfates. Okay, have you understood this? Next one. So due to low volatility, their volatile, it is not highly volatile, it is less volatile only. So due to low volatility means evaporation process. Due to low volatility, sulfuric acid used to manufacture, it is used to manufacture more volatile acids from their corresponding salts. So it is used to manufacture more volatile acids from their corresponding salts. So how? Suppose a metal halide is there, Mx, where M is a metal, on reaction with sulfuric acid, converting into 2HX and M2SO4. So here, also you have to take. So here, look at this. HX is a halide, right? Okay. It is an acid. Suppose HCl is an acid. So here X stands for fluorine, chlorine, and any nitrates. Anything you can take. Suppose if I'll take NaNO3, sodium nitrate, it is a salt, corresponding salt. on reaction with sulfuric acid. For this equation, I am taking example, guys. So it will converting into 2 moles of NaNO3. So I'll take 2 moles plus, sorry, HNO3, 2 moles of HNO3. Acid is formed or not? Yes, 2 moles of acid and Na2SO4. So this HNO3 is an acid. What they are saying? It is used to manufacture more volatile acid by using sulfuric acid from their corresponding salt. So for this equation, this is an example. Okay, guys. Next, I'll move to another concept. It is a sulfuric acid. Okay, listen. Sulfuric acid, it is used as a strong reducing agent. This is very important point. Sulfuric acid is strong oxidizing agent. So in that property, it is also acts as strong dehydrating agent. It is acting as a strong dehydrating agent. What is mean by D? D means removal, hydrating. That means removal of H2O minus H2O. It acts as a dehydrating agent. So it removes water. Mainly it is used in carbohydrates. If you take a carbohydrate, it is a carbohydrates identification test. Very important. Okay. If you use sulfuric acid, it will convert into, okay. So water is eliminated. If you use H2SO4, water is eliminated from that. Okay. So you will get simple carbon. Suppose a carbohydrate you can take, an important carbohydrate, C12H22O11. What is this? Sucrose. It is a carbohydrate or not? Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. So carbohydrate. On this, if you use sulfuric acid, what it will do? It will remove water molecules. So you will get only carbon and water molecules. Here, 11 moles of water molecule and 12 moles of carbon is. So you will get, this is called Charing action. Okay. You will get only this ashes of carbon only. Okay. So that is called Charing action of sulfuric acid on carbohydrates. Here, sulfuric acid is also used as H2SO4. Is also a strong oxidizing agent. Sulfuric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. So here, how it acts as an oxidizing agent? So metal to metal sulfates it will convert. Copper on reaction with the sulfuric acid. Suppose you will get copper sulfate plus sulfur dioxide and water. So here concentrated sulfuric acid you have to take. Okay. Next, sulfur on reaction with the sulfuric acid. It will converting into sulfur dioxide and 2 moles of water. Carbon on reaction with sulfuric acid converts to carbon dioxide and 2SO2 plus 2H2. So what to observe here? Copper, oxidizing agent. So increase in oxidation state, you can take here 0 copper oxidation state, but here in this cup plus 2 oxidation state. And sulfur, it is also 0, but here plus 4 oxidation state. And along with that, only sulfur is there, oxygens are also added, so it is also oxidation process, isn't it? Here only carbon 0 oxidation state converted to plus 4 oxidation state, and oxygens are also added, so it is an oxidation process. Have you understood now? So sulfuric acid acts as a strong oxidizing agent. So this is a preparation methods and its chemical properties. Now we'll see its uses. Sulfuric acid uses. So it is mostly used in fertilizers. This sulfuric acid is used in fertilizers. So mainly in the preparation of ammonium sulfates, and superphosphates. So fertilizers like ammonium sulfates and superphosphates uses sulfuric acid. Okay, and it is say it is the first one. It is used in paints, and dye stuffs, and even in detergent industry. Okay. Third one, it is used in metallurgical applications. That means metallurgy means extraction of metal. Okay. It is also used in metallurgical applications. Fourth one, it is also used in lead storage batteries. In electrochemistry, you might study this. Sulfuric acid is used in lead storage batteries, in storage batteries. Okay, secondary batteries. So main examples, inverters used in home, they generally have this sulfuric acid content along with the lead oxide electrodes. Okay, so this is the use of your sulfuric acid. Okay guys, with this your 16th group elements chapter is completed. 16th group is completed. Now, so what we have done in today's session of 16th group, sulfuric acid uses and its chemical properties. Okay, the chemical properties Ka1 and Ka2, and sulfuric acid preparation method. Sulfuric by using contact technique. Contact process, it involves in 3 steps. Vanadium pentoxide is get. Second step is more important. Next, oxo acids of sulfur. Oxo acids of sulfur. 4 oxo acids of sulfur we have discussed, and their structures and their types of bonds also we have mentioned. In few remaining you have to do. Next, here sulfur dioxide structure and its uses and its chemical properties. It acts as a reducing agent. Okay. Here, this is about sulfur dioxide. It's complete about its preparation and its chemical properties. Okay. Next, about sulfur. In the sulfur, we have 2 major forms of allotropic forms of sulfur, alpha and beta sulfur. Okay. And both are highly soluble in CS2, carbon disulfide. And this 369 Kelvin temperature is called transition temperature. And this is very, very important, guys. Don't neglect this. This transition temperature. How much is that? 369 Kelvins. Okay. This is both rhombic or monoclinic, anything you can take. They have SE8 molecule type of structure, and it exists as a crown ring structure, or it is also called as Packard structure. This is a crown-like structure. This is how it looks, right? It's a crown. And S6 exists as a chair form and at very high temperatures like 1000 kelvins. Okay. In sulfur, S2 form is more predominant or more stable. It is paramagnetic like your oxygen. So this is about sulfur and its oxyacids. Okay. This 16th group is completed. Next, we'll start 17th group elements. Okay. Okay, guys. Shall I start 17th group or halogen family? So here, right. Halogen family, or it is also called as 17th group elements or 7th A group. Okay, halogen family, 17th group or 7th A. So what are the elements included in this group? Tell me, what are the elements included in this? Please, can anyone name group elements? Have you remembered?
Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine.
Yes, good. So here, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. And their atomic numbers, it is 9, 9 plus 8, 17, 17 plus 18, 35, 35 plus 18, 53, 53 plus 32, 85. And this is a 9 means helium, after that helium, neon, here comes argon, krypton, xenon. Here it's fluorine. Fluorine, after that fluorine, neon you will get actually. But before that, the end group element, end periodic element. First group end element is helium. First period, second period neon, third argon, like this. So write its electronic configurations. Helium is 2, to remaining 7 you have to write. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 5. Here 3s2, 3p, 5. Then 3D series will start, D block elements will start. So I'll write 3d10, 4s2, 4p, 5. What about this? Next 4D series, 4d10, 5s2, 5p5. Next F block elements will start. So 4f14, 5d10, 6s2, 6p5. So this is a electronic configuration of this group elements. Okay. And here 7th group elements are called as halogens. The 7th group elements are group elements called as halogens. Why it is called as halogens? The reason is halo means salt. Genus means it is bond. So they generally form, that means they are salt producers. That's why we call them as halogens. Salt is born from them. That's what salt producers. So we call them as halogens. Why we call them as halogens? Because they are salt produced elements. That's what halogens. Okay. And 6th group elements are called chalcogens. Chalcogens. CHALCO. I'll write here. 6th A group elements are called chalcogens or chalcogens. That means they are ore forming. Mainly they are available as ores. So we call them as chalcogens. 6th group is chalcogen, 7th group is halogens. Okay. Now their occurrence. How they are available in the earth crust or in the atmosphere, where it is available. Occurrence. So if you take their occurrence, the fluorides they are available as
Sir,
insoluble.
blur గా ఉంది సార్ పేపర్.
It's not clear. Now you see.
No, sir.
One second. I'm adjusting the camera. Is it fine now? You can't see?
ఓకే సార్.
It is here. First, I will talk about fluoride. Fluorine is available as insoluble fluorides. Insoluble fluorides. So their main important words: fluorspar. Fluorspar is nothing but calcium fluoride, CaF2. Next one is cryolite. This cryolite formula is Na3Al(F6). Next, fluorapatite. Calcium. Okay, phosphorus. I said phosphorus is mainly available as apatite family. So here calcium, phosphorus, and fluorines all are available as apatite family. Fluorapatite means CaF2 is present in this. So here Ca3, PO42 and CaF2. This is called fluorapatite. So mainly present in bones, teeth. Okay. Next, if you talk about chlorine, it's mainly available in seawater. Salt, it is extracted from the seawater. On evaporation, seawater they will some clogs they will construct, and that when water is evaporated, salt is remain on the ground. So seawater
సార్
it
కొంచెం
is
బ్లర్
due to the sodium chloride. Okay, you are able to hear me? So you can't see what I'm writing here, or little blur only. It is slightly blur, slightly clear. Anyway, I'm going to give you these notes, right? So try to listen the last 5-10 minutes. So here, chlorine is mainly available in seawater in the form of sodium chloride. So this seawater is very salty. The reason sodium chloride is present almost 2.5% by mass in the seawater. And chlorine is also available in cornellite. It's important ore that is called cornellite, KCl, MgCl2, 6 moles of water. KCl, MgCl2, 6 moles of water is called cornellite. Is it still blurry?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, we'll stop here today then. Remaining we'll discuss tomorrow. So this is about your halogen family. Basic introduction. Okay, guys and girls, I'm signing off. Chalo, all of you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir.